After decades of holding everything in, the daughter of gospel legend Yolanda Adams has finally opened up. And what she shared has sent shockwaves through the gospel world. For years, Yolanda has stood as a towering figure in Christian music, elegant, powerful, and seemingly untouchable at 63. But behind the flawless image, there's been a silence growing, one that's only now breaking. Her daughter's revelation hasn't just challenged the public perception of Yolanda Adams. It's exposed something deeper, something the church and the gospel industry have long avoided talking about. To many fans, Yolanda was the epitome of grace. With her soaring vocals and heartfelt messages, she wasn't just performing, she was ministering. Her songs became lifelines, her presence a testimony. She represented hope, strength, and spiritual conviction. A woman who rose above hardship and carved her place as gospel royalty. For Black women especially, Yolanda Adams stood as a symbol that faith and fame could coexist without losing integrity. But like with any bright spotlight, there was a shadow no one saw. While Yolanda was being celebrated worldwide, accepting awards, gracing red carpets, and headlining concerts, there was someone quietly left behind, her only child. Over the years, fans noticed something odd. Yolanda's daughter was barely ever mentioned. No interviews, no appearances. No proud mother-daughter moments shared in public. Many brushed it off, assuming the girl simply wanted her privacy. But behind that invisibility was a painful truth, one that Yolanda's daughter is now bravely revealing. She didn't speak out to destroy anyone. In fact, her words were filled with calm, compassion, and spiritual understanding. But what she described was a childhood defined by distance, not just physically, but emotionally. While her mother gave her heart to the world, her daughter often felt like she got what was left, if anything at all. Imagine watching your parent uplift millions while you quietly sit in the background, yearning for connection, presence, and love. That's what her childhood was like. And in her own powerful words, the world got the best of her. I got what was left over. Her experience wasn't about being neglected in the traditional sense. Yolanda was there sometimes, but emotionally, she often wasn't. Her daughter painted a picture of growing up in what felt like a perfect-looking glass house, shiny on the outside, but empty on the inside. Fans saw the glory. They didn't see the birthdays missed because of tours, the bedtime stories skipped for interviews, the deep conversations that never happened. And then there was the pressure, the unspoken but ever-present rule: keep quiet, don't embarrass the family, don't question the image. Don't let anyone know something might be wrong, especially not in a gospel family, where appearances and holiness go hand in hand. Her daughter explained how growing up under Yolanda's fame meant living under invisible rules shaped by church culture, by expectations, by the belief that questioning your parents' actions meant questioning God himself. She remembered wanting to speak up as a child, wanting to ask why her mother wasn't around more. But every time she tried, she was met with phrases like, "God has called me to something greater," or "You'll understand when you're older." And as time went on, she stopped trying. Pastors, mentors, even friends would silence her. When she hinted at how she felt, "Be grateful," they said. "You know how blessed you are?" And so she learned to keep her emotions hidden till the silence started to feel like a prison. As her mother's fame grew, so did the emotional gap between them. Yolanda became not just a gospel icon, but a public figure with a brand to protect. Radio host, TV personality, gospel trailblazer. Meanwhile, her daughter faded further into the background, carrying invisible wounds that no one could see. At 21, everything began to shift. Her daughter started therapy, began journaling, and sought spiritual guidance from outside the gospel bubble. She started to peel back the layers of her pain and understand the weight she had carried for years. And what she discovered was painful. Her silence had protected an image but had buried her own truth. For 2 years she wrestled with whether to speak out, not because she wanted to start a scandal, but because she needed to free herself. And because she knew her story might help others, especially children raised under the glow of fame or in religious homes where perfection is prized above. Emotional honesty, now 24, she's decided to share her truth. Not to take her mother down, but to reclaim her own voice. Her message is simple yet profound. I still love my mother, but loving her doesn't mean I have to stay quiet. That one line has resonated across the internet, giving language to something many children of public figures have felt but never voiced. In her full statement, which first surfaced on a private podcast and was later shared online, she outlined 3 core truths about her life growing up with Yolanda Adams. Truths that challenge everything fans thought they knew. The first, her mother was emotionally unavailable. While Yolanda showed up for fans, ministered to strangers, and uplifted thousands, her daughter often felt invisible at home. She recounted birthdays spent alone, recitals missed, and tears cried behind closed doors. She treated me like a fan, she said. And while that line hit hard, it also opened a door for other children of ministers, performers, and public figures to share their own experiences of being loved publicly, but neglected privately. The second truth, everything had to look perfect, even when it wasn't. According to her daughter, their home was built around appearance. Clothes, behavior, even language had to align with a certain image of holiness. When she struggled with depression as a teen, Yolanda allegedly dismissed therapy as unnecessary, insisting they could pray it away. Her daughter wasn't allowed to be messy or vulnerable, only blessed and grateful. Her emotions, her pain didn't fit the brand. So it got buried. Even social media posts and church tributes were carefully curated to paint a picture that behind the scenes wasn't real. The third truth may be the hardest: she never felt fully accepted unless she was perfect. Growing up, she was constantly reminded that her behavior reflected her mother's ministry. Any misstep could tarnish Yolanda's image. She internalized that pressure until it shaped how she saw herself. She believed she had to be flawless to be loved. And when she tried to discover who she was outside of her mother's shadow, it felt like betrayal through these deeply personal confessions. She's doing more than telling her story. She's cracking open a long-ignored conversation in the gospel world. One about how we treat the children of our spiritual heroes. One about the price of maintaining a perfect image. One about the cost of silence, but her story doesn't end in pain. It moves toward healing. She didn't speak out with vengeance. She spoke out with purpose. Her goal isn't to cancel her mother's legacy. It's to make space for her own. I honor what my mother did for gospel music, she said. But I can't keep sacrificing myself at the altar of her image. That level of grace has surprised many. She doesn't deny her mother's impact. She simply refuses to let that impact erase her pain. She's asking for something deeper than applause. She's asking for healing, not just for herself, but for others who grew up in similar shadows. Children of pastors, children of gospel artists, children taught to keep quiet no matter what. Now she's studying psychology and spiritual counseling. Her goal is to help others who've been shaped and sometimes wounded by the weight of religious family systems. She still believes in faith, but not the kind that silences you, the kind that sets you free. Her courage has sparked a wave of responses from people around the world. Hashtags like #ChurchKidsSpeak and #HealingInFaith have emerged as people begin sharing their own stories. These aren't attacks on the church, they're cries for honesty, vulnerability, and emotional safety. For the first time, the gospel community is being asked to look inward, to ask hard questions, to reckon with what it really means to raise children in faith without erasing their voices. So far, Yolanda Adams has remained silent on the matter. Some say she's reflecting, others believe a response is coming. But no matter what happens next, one thing is clear. The truth is out now. The silence has been broken. And with that, a new chapter begins, not just for one daughter, But for a culture that's learning to choose truth over image, healing over performance, and voice over silence,